keep going, but I'm ready to stop playing the fiddle now and say that my life would be a lot simpler if I just did one thing like playing fiddle. But I don't just do one thing. I think my life is a little more interesting than that. Sometimes jokingly say I'm 20th century guy. I reach out to people a lot by writing letters, which I handwrite, the return address, handwrite the envelope. I like paper and envelopes. I got bigger ones, I got smaller ones, I got dark ones with white ink. I guess that makes me old school, although recently I traded my beloved flip phone. I loved my flip phone for something a little more modern, but we make our compromises with it. People know me. I've made a living since the mid-90s. I'm a former college professor. Made my living since the mid-90s combining old-time Appalachian fiddle with original poetry, with a lot of Alaska set, and I like to think smart storytelling.
To learn, lock yourself and fiddle in a room all winter and practice till you play with a twisty, heartfelt, rhythmic punch that approaches trance. One night tackling a mean Charlie Parker riff, she blew.
People know me for that, and that I have now, what do I have? I have 14 books and about to have 3 more coming out. One of the books, I've visited over 240 schools in 35 states. And this is a kid's book. D is for Dog Team. It's Alaska set acrostics. That also, for a little bit older, is D is for Denali. D is for Dog Team. It's a kid's book. And I have, I guess I should mention with that, I have a couple of kids' CDs, Fiddlin' Poets on Parade and D is for Dog Team, and just recently just made some videos to do some lessons. You can do them virtually. I'm trying to do about everything because I am, even though I'm a 20th century guy, we are in the year 2020. In 2020, I had couple books come out. Sports Page, all sports poem. I grew up playing tennis, I taught tennis for years. Sports Page. And as a writer, the writing party, this is everything I know about writing is in this book. Up to the time that the book came out in early 2020. Book that came out a few years, now it's been more than 10 years ago. Are You Famous? Touring America with Alaska's Fiddlin' Poet. It's the story of my life on tour. And I do workshops called So You Want to Go Places with Your Art, about how anybody, whether musician, writer, visual artist, performer, can become more public and go more places with their art. I should mention these 3 books. Gnome Poems. These are the first 3 books I had. Gnome Poems, To Live on This Earth, The Secret Visitor's Guide, are almost wholly set in Alaska. So people know me as a writer. People, I think, more know me as a performer, as a musician. And when I perform, some of the people I'm very fortunate. I have friends who are, to my mind, they're just geniuses, and I get to play with them because I get these shows. And so if I'm in Texas, I have friends, Jerry Hagins, and sometimes his friend and my friend Beth Chrisman get to join us. There's also a fella, Willi Carlisle, who was living in Arkansas, now he's in Missouri. He will drive all over, even get on a plane to join me places. On the West Coast, Kevin Carr is a fiddle player, also a bagpiper, and also plays some banjo and guitar, great storyteller. In Pittsburgh, my friend Mark Tamsula. In Detroit, Jonah Lewis. Have a friend in New York, Brian Vollmer. Sometimes his wife, Claire Byrne, gets to join us. Have people all over that I can have join me, and I especially enjoy having dancers. I have a number of friends who not just play a number of instruments, but they play and maybe dance, or friends who are dancers and get to join in the shows. Read a poem called The Bag Collector, just because I think it's worth sharing. I like to go to places, and I do collect bags where I go. A big gray duffel, bigger black bag that looks like it holds a body. Day packs, knapsacks, a green one off the clearance rack at LL Bean. So many conference bags, Seattle, Austin, Nashville. Okay, brag. The reddish Nepalese hemp bag that may lack space but so perfectly transports you back to Queensland, Australia. Reusable bags from recyclable materials. Bags with stubborn zippers, fraying seams, tags from flights to Boise, Vancouver, Providence. Purple, yellow, orange bags. Such nonsense, you might think. Enough bags. But when empty, each one is filled with possibility. When I visit a community like I visited Chico, California in spring 2019, I like to think that I bring possibility. In Chico, I did a main stage show with Kevin Carr, with Willi Carlisle, and two musicians from nearby Paradise, California, a town that 4 months before had been almost completely destroyed by fire.
Old-time string band jam when three fiddlers sit. Actually, a little editorializing, the harmonica is known as the poor man's fiddle. When three fiddlers sit with a banjo player and guitar, some chairs tight in a closed little ring, no matter what you've been taught, no matter your ear, know when musicians bob and sway and shake like a flood of sound damned in a seat. Listen well. You'll hear moonshine and mountain joined at the peak, crooked creek crashing its banks, quick twist of hind leg catching brush, and a leathery old rattler slithering beneath.
I did with Willi Carlisle 2 main stage kids school day shows in Chico. I visited 3 elementary schools. I visited a senior center. I visited a Cal State Chico University creative writing class. I like to think that when I go somewhere, it's going to be fun, it's going to inspire, and will be full of surprise. end with a waltz, an original waltz. I've made up a number of waltzes. I'll play one called the Fairbanks Cabin Waltz. Take me back to Fairbanks, place I like to be.